Good evening, everyone. Welcome on this sort of Halloweenish night outside. Lovely to have you here this evening where it's warm and dry, and we're going to have a wonderful evening together. My name is Bogue-Trost. I'm the pastor here at Central United Methodist Church, and on behalf of this congregation, I welcome you to this time and this place and the first of our hopefully long organ concert series. Tonight we feature Tim Smith, who has rebuilt our organ, and I'm so delighted to share this night with you all. You may have noticed there is some activity down below us. We are sharing space with a Girl Scout troop, and they're having a Halloween party. So if you hear stray Girl Scouty sounds, it's not ghosts, it's not spooky in any way, it's just Girl Scouts in the basement. So once again, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Psalm 100 entreats us to make a joyful noise unto the Lord, and tonight we will deliver on that. My name is 𝘾𝙀𝙊𝙀, and it's my pleasure to add my welcome to Michelle's. I served as the church's liaison to Tim throughout this project, and I am truly over the moon to have arrived at tonight. Relieved, but over the moon. We had plans to do this in April of 2020. That didn't happen. I'm so glad we're here tonight. I do have some housekeeping to share with you tonight. You all sat very well where there is no string, so thank you for that. And I appreciate that you are all masked and ask your cooperation in remaining masked throughout the evening. There are attendance pads down the center aisle end of the pews, and I would ask that you complete those legibly and put your phone number there. That is what we will use to contact trace if we should need to do that. Once everyone in the pew has signed that, if you could just tear it out and leave it on top, we'll pick that up after the concert. If you need a restroom tonight, if you go out that door to the end of the hall and turn left, you will find them. If you go out this door and down a flight, you will find one there as well. You may also find yourself in a Girl Scout party. Choose your door. Lots of folks helped make tonight possible, and you see their names on the back of the program. I would particularly like to thank the folks in the sound booth back there, Reverend Mark Marino. Our concert is being live streamed tonight, so I welcome that audience as well. And it will also be available recorded on our YouTube channel as well. But Mark is there along with Knut Hansen and Nate Trost, and really appreciate all that they're doing to make that possible tonight. We also have some guests here that I would like to acknowledge. I'm looking for John Holt. John, welcome. John is the Dean of the Binghamton chapter of the American Guild of Organists. As I put together the slides for the program tonight, I was purposefully optimistic, as Michelle pointed out. This is a concert series. When you have a concert series, you have more concerts. I'm already working with Tim, beating the drum a bit to have him come back and do another. One thing we'd like to do in our next concert is wheel that baby out front and center. So part of his work was, in fact, to enable that, and it is theoretically possible, but we're going to give that a test run before we try it. So unfortunately that won't happen tonight, but next time it will. John and I were in talks also in 2020 about hosting the AGO member recital here. That was going to be in June of 2020. So obviously that didn't happen, but hopefully sometime soon. That would be awesome. And I know there are others in the room that could probably pull off a concert as well. Let's talk. And on that note, let me also introduce Jean Hensler, who is the sub-dean for the chapter. Hi, Jean. Jean served here as organist at Central some time ago. We will not count those years, right? I know hearing this tonight will mean a lot to you. I would also like to introduce Helen Smith, Tim's mother Hi, welcome. I think her official title is Chief Assistant. On any given day, she could be found helping with the tuning, waxing and polishing the wood grids, or gosh knows what else. You are remarkable. We are taking a free will offering tonight, the basket in the center in the back, and that will be go towards the organ maintenance fund. I mean, I don't know what could possibly go wrong after the work Tim has done, right? We appreciate your support. Well, I think that's enough from me. It is time to welcome tonight's headliner. You can see from his biography in the program that Tim gets around. He currently serves as the organist and choir master at Trinity Memorial Episcopal in Binghamton. He leads organ building projects all over the place. Whenever I have a chance to talk to him by phone, it always is prefaced by, "And where are we today?" And it's usually on the way from point A to point B somewhere. After working with him closely over these last 3 years, though, I'm mostly honored to be able to also introduce him as my friend. So without further ado, please welcome Tim Smith.
The opera Aida is indeed one of the grandest things that Verdi ever wrote. In fact, it's so grand that it includes elephants coming onto the stage. Due to the supply chain crisis, the elephants couldn't come tonight. So you heard French music instead. I'm sorry, that wasn't Verdi at all. If you're not an opera person, that wasn't Verdi. It was Louis Couperin from the grand French tradition, just before I think all the heads were getting cut off. And people were wearing lots of big robes, and there was lots of bright gold. And so that was called Chaconne. It's a grand entrance. But we do continue with everything that's on the program tonight. And the next pieces were actually not written by Suzanne van Solt, but she was a music student in Amsterdam. Her family moved to London in the late 1500s, and you couldn't buy music as a student, so you had to copy down what your teacher had for written music, and you took that copy and made it for yourself, and whatever the teacher said, you need to learn this next. So these are pieces that are actually highlighting music that was very active around 1595 in Holland, in England, in Spain, and Denmark. And if in the program you may see a list of stops, the stop list, the specifications for the organ. That's like when you go to an orchestra concert and there's a list of all the players. Or if you go to the high school play and it lists all the people who are in it and the people who work behind the scenes. Well, that's listing each one of the sets of pipes that are in the chambers up here. I guess this moves, doesn't it? I could stand up straight. And so you will hear a contrast, especially of three of the more quirky stops in the organ. One is the bassoon that lives on the great division. Another is the cor anglais, English horn, that lives in the choir. And then the third one is the oboe that is in the swell. And so those are some of the most peculiar, interesting sounds that you'll hear out of the organ. And those will contrast not only in these pieces, but in the Bach piece next. I believe we're to sing a hymn now. After the hymn, just wanted to speak about a couple of the pieces you'll hear. For those of you who came because it's a Halloween program and you're wanting your money back, that was sort of an attempt to be scary. Okay, the last two pieces are really good Halloween pieces. So I'll just say that to look forward to. A little word about Horatio Parker. He was born in the 1860s and was a real homegrown American composer who had quite a career in New York and New Haven and Boston as a conductor, composer, and performer. And he was such a big deal in his day, as so many of us, hear about people like that. And this would have been, he died in about 1919, I think. But this piece really embodies the spirit of the country about the time this building was built, which would predate this organ and the way this chancel was. This building is older than when the organ came in 1951. And so it's good to remember our roots a little bit and hear this distinctive American language. So that's coming up in just a little while. But the hymn is available in the book and on the screen. That's amazing. Okay, it's your turn.
In case you're wondering, yes, I do have the best seat in the house. The insert in your program has some details about the renovation project that we did for the Moller, along with its new specifications. But as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I thought we'd do a little show and tell on some steps along the way to how we got here tonight. So this first slide shows a before and after of the inside of that pipe chamber. So on the before, you can see on the left how there are shutters that are closed. And next to those shutters, and between the shutters and the chancel area, there used to be a big, heavy cloth that protected the pipes and the whole chamber from dust. You can see in the after picture, which is a slightly different angle, it's from there looking out, the shutters are gone, and the cloth has been replaced by a very fine metal mesh. So you can see pretty dramatically the difference and hear it in the clarity of the sound. And if I stand here, now the lights in the chamber are off, but even as I stand here, and if you would come up afterwards, you can see all the pipes now on both sides. You can also see, one more thing, the back ones, I'm sorry, at the very top on the after, those are the high notes of our new trumpet, which you've been hearing a little bit. And then along the bottom, that's also the rest of the rank of the new trumpet ranks that we have. Okay, the next slide, these are both after pictures. So on the left are a new set of shutters that are inside that chamber that are just around the pipes for the choir division. So the grate comes out freely, but the crescendo pedal, the pedal will help us with the shutters for just the choir division there. And then on the right, so Tim and I have joked with each other that we probably need to start a course on Weight Watchers if we're going to continue to service these pipes. That plank down the right side is probably a foot wide, and those new shutters are on the right of that. So trust me when I say it is a bit of a squeeze to get through there. And then there's a plank that you see in the front that helps get to the trumpet ranks that you can see on the top. So yeah, it's a tight squeeze, and we made it tighter. And on the next slide, so this is 3 pictures. So as many of you know, an organist's most distressing issue is a cipher. You can tell. So there's nothing worse than turning on the organ and a pipe decides it's going to make noise whether you want it to or not. Invariably, the offending pipe is hard to find and harder to get to. So what I'm showing here is one day I came in and it was the tierce that had the offending pipe. So if you look at the leftmost picture on the right, you see a rank of pipes that seems to be about 2 feet lower than all of the rest of them. That's because it is, and those are the tierce way down there. So that's where the offending pipe was. So that little bit of plank that you see is what I had to slide onto on my belly, yes, to get to. Now the middle picture shows the aerial view of that. You can see the pipe laying across the wood on the bottom there. That was the bad boy that was refusing to be quiet. So the sum total of my repair skills are pull the pipe out and make it stop. To do this, some organists are very good at improv. I am not. However, that little tool on the right, I think, deserves a patent. That is a wooden plank that I found at my legs and my face mask. And by taking this instrument and touching each tierce pipe, I was able to figure out who was making noise. I think there's a market for this. But it's back in place and behaving now. On the next slide, when I say that the console was gutted, the left shows the console was gutted. And you can see on the right, it's getting back into shape a little bit with 2 of the manuals put in. But the main part of the work that was done here was to the console and digitally enabling it to be controlled. On the next slide, you'll see what that entails. So now, on the left side is a side view of the console. That's all the computer circuitry that's now there that's helping control everything. And on the right shows the other end of the computer circuits up in each chamber so that everything can talk together. And I'll just say, so many wires and so much soldering. I think it was a full 3 months that every time I came in here, someone was soldering. It was a lot. And on the next slide, okay, these are the most unglamorous photos in the set. I have heard that there are churches who did major renovations on their organ and chose not to replace their organ blower, which creates all of the wind. Tim might be able to tell us a story or two about what happens when you do that. I beg you to ask him. We did do that, and on the right, what you should notice is how much smaller the blower is. It's actually out now in its own little house. There's actually a piece that goes on the front of it as well, but it's this tiny little thing. It's like when you replace your furnace after 20 years and suddenly it was this and now it's this. Same with our blower, and it's brand new and it works great. And on the next slide, this is the final before and after I have. So this is the before and after of the console itself. It's kind of hard, probably brighter on your screen than what I'm able to see. But, you know, among the changes, a new music stand with LED lighting, more stops, more couplers, pistons above the pedals, 99 memories, the ability to transpose. It's all there. So I'd like to acknowledge for a moment all of those folks, many of whom in the room tonight, who volunteered their time to this project, whether you insisted in helping take all of the pipes down and put them aside while we did all the releathering, or you helped with one of the fundraising dinners, or in any way you lent your talents. Also those who contributed financially. Yes, this was a major undertaking. I was shocked how quickly we raised this money. It was so impressive and just a testament to Central's commitment to fine music. There is a plaque over here on the wall that acknowledges all of those donors, and it is actually on an antique organ pipe. Now, COVID protocols suggest we're not quite ready to host a reception with a meet and greet and all that, but in lieu of that, I asked Tim if he would be willing to do a Q&A session after the concert. So we will sit here and we will be like 𝘾𝙀𝙊𝙀𝙀 and such, and he will take your questions. So think about it. Don't make them too hard. But for now, we welcome Tim back to the organ.
everything every minute. You should Google the story about the Funeral March of the Marionette. It is hysterical. It is the most overdone, complicated little story, and that music goes with it. That music also is associated with, for those of us who watch black and white television, with Mr. Hitchcock himself. But the piece is really, the story is just crazy. This next piece is as Halloween as any organist can possibly get. Most of us began in high school saying, I want to play this piece. Well, it happens that it shows off a whole lot of the organ. So thank you very much for coming. I haven't said a thing about all the wonderful people who helped with this project. I guess we're saving that for the Q&A in a little bit. So enjoy the Bwelman.